Who is the true ruler of the dead? Is it the solemn jackal-headed god of the Egyptian sands, Anubis? Or is it the mighty, often misunderstood king of the Greek underworld, Hades? This is a clash of titans, a battle of mythologies. Today, we're diving deep into the realms of the afterlife to figure out who truly holds the title of Lord of the Dead. It's a question that has fascinated scholars and storytellers for centuries. So grab your torches. We're about to descend into the shadows. Let's begin our journey in ancient Egypt, a civilization obsessed with the afterlife. And at the heart of their belief stands Anubis. Picture this, a tall, imposing figure with the body of a man and the head of a jackal. That's Anubis, one of the oldest and most important gods in the Egyptian pantheon. His name itself sends a shiver down the spine, but his role wasn't one of pure terror. In fact, he was a guide, a protector. Anubis was known as the guardian of the scales. His most famous duty was the weighing of the heart ceremony. Imagine a soul arriving in the Hall of Two Truths after death. Their heart, which the Egyptians believed held the soul's conscience and deeds, was placed on one side of a scale. On the other side, the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth and justice. Anubis would meticulously oversee this process. If the heart was lighter than the feather, it meant the person had lived a righteous life, and Anubis would guide them safely to the beautiful afterlife, the field of reeds, to be with the great god Osiris. But if the heart was heavy with sin, it was fed to the monstrous Ammit, the devourer of the dead, and the soul would cease to exist forever. So you see, Anubis was more than just a gatekeeper. He was the ultimate judge, the one who decided your eternal fate. He didn't just rule the dead, he actively managed their transition, ensuring cosmic order was maintained. He was also the god of embalming and mummification, the sacred rituals that prepared the body for its journey. The priests who performed these rites often wore jackal masks in his honor. For the ancient Egyptians, Anubis wasn't a figure of dread, but a necessary and respected divine authority who held the keys to eternity. Now, let's travel across the Mediterranean to the rugged landscapes of ancient Greece. Here, the underworld isn't a place of judgment and transition, but a vast, shadowy kingdom. And ruling over it all is the formidable Hades. Hades was one of the three most powerful Olympian gods, alongside his brother Zeus, ruler of the sky, and Poseidon, ruler of the sea. When they drew lots to divide the cosmos, Hades drew the underworld, and he took his job very seriously. Unlike Anubis, Hades wasn't a guide. He was a king, a sovereign. His realm, also called Hades, was the final destination for all mortal souls, good or bad. It was a place of permanence. Once you entered, you rarely ever left. Hades himself was often depicted as a stern, majestic figure, sometimes with a dark beard, seated on an ebony throne. He wasn't evil, despite what modern pop culture might tell you. The Greeks saw him as just, but grim and unyielding. He was feared, not because he was malevolent, but because he represented the finality of death, an inescapable reality for all mortals. His job was to ensure the dead stayed in his realm, and didn't trouble the living. He had his own powerful symbols, like the Helm of Darkness, which made him invisible, and his loyal three-headed guard dog Cerberus, who made sure no soul escaped and no living person entered uninvited. So while Anubis was an active participant in the soul's journey, Hades was the passive but absolute monarch of their final destination. His power was in his unshakable control over his domain. So we have two very different, very powerful deities. Let's put them side by side. Anubis is a psychopomp, a term for a guide of souls. His power is in the process, the judgment, the transition. He's a divine bureaucrat, a funeral director, and a judge all rolled into one. He holds your eternal destiny in his hands during that crucial moment of judgment. His authority is active and personal. He meets every soul. Hades, on the other hand, is a king. His power is in sovereignty and ownership. He doesn't personally greet every soul at the gates. He has minions like Charon the ferryman and Thanatos, the personification of death for that. His power is absolute but distant. He rules over a population of countless dead souls. Anubis decides asterisk. If asterisk, you get a peaceful afterlife. Hades rules the place where you end up, regardless. Think of it like this. Anubis is the customs and immigration officer of the afterlife, stamping your passport for eternity. Hades is the king of the country you're now a citizen of. Anubis's role is critical, but temporary for each soul. Once you're past the scales, his job with you is largely done. Hades' rule over you is permanent. Another key difference is their relationship with the living. Anubis was actively worshipped and invoked during funeral rites. People prayed to him for a safe passage. Hades, however, had very few temples and was rarely worshipped directly. The Greeks were superstitious and avoided even saying his name, often calling him Plauton, meaning the rich one, because all the precious minerals of the earth were found in his domain. His name was synonymous with the grave itself. So, who is the true ruler of the dead? The answer, as you might have guessed, isn't so simple. It really depends on what you mean by ruler. If ruler means having direct, hands-on control over the fate and judgment of each individual soul, then the title has to go to Anubis. He is the ultimate arbiter of who gets to enjoy paradise and who is obliterated. His decision is final and carries immense weight. He governs the very process of death and judgment. However, if ruler means being the supreme sovereign of the realm where all the dead reside, the one who has absolute dominion over the entire population of the deceased, then Hades is the undisputed king. He is a monarch whose kingdom is the entirety of the underworld, a vast and permanent domain. Anubis guides you to the door, but Hades owns the entire estate. One is a judge, the other is a monarch. Both are incredibly powerful and essential to their respective mythologies' understanding of life and death. Anubis represents the hope of a just afterlife based on your deeds. Hades represents the inescapable reality and finality of death itself. They are two sides of the same eternal coin, each a master of their own aspect of the great beyond. So, who do you think is the true ruler of the dead? The meticulous judge or the mighty king? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. It's a fascinating debate that shows just how differently ancient cultures viewed the ultimate mystery. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the underworld. If you enjoy diving into ancient myths and epic god battles like this one, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history and mythology. We've got plenty more legends to uncover. Until next time, stay curious.